There are encounters that we do not understand with the mind, but recognize with the spirit. There is not much to say, nor many questions to ask. The connection happens in silence, in a glance, in the peace that arrives before the conversation begins. And deep down you know, this is different. Perhaps you have already experienced this. An encounter with someone who didn't seem strange, even though they were new. Who arrived without promising anything, but brought exactly what your soul needed. People who speak little, but carry something strong. People who seem to have been sent, and they truly were, because the chosen ones recognize each other. They carry the same spiritual frequency, even having completely different stories. When they cross paths, it is not by chance. It is God moving the right people at the right time. This video is for you who have felt this, but did not know how to explain it. Or for you who have always had that impression of recognizing people you have never seen. Today we will talk about 7 ways to identify when God places another chosen one on your path, and why this is more important than it seems. These people do not arrive with signs or prepared speeches. They come with purpose, and many times they fulfill this purpose in silence. But after they pass, you are no longer the same. Now, if this topic has touched something inside you, I need to tell you, this channel was made for you. Here we do not speak to everyone. We speak to those who feel, to those who have been set apart. So if something here resonates with your spirit, subscribe, because this is a space where the chosen ones recognize each other and strengthen each other. There are people who come with words, compliments, stories, and then there are the chosen ones. They do not need to say anything. Their presence already communicates something. It brings peace, relief, a lightness that cannot be explained logically. It is as if their spirit carries a different atmosphere, an energy of silent welcoming. You do not understand where it comes from, but you feel it. The mind tries to justify, it's just a calm person. But the soul knows it is not just that. It is something deeper. The environment changes. The internal agitation begins to settle. The heart slows down. All of this just because the chosen one has arrived. They do not force it. They do not try to impress. Their presence does not shout, but touches. Even in tense situations or heavy environments, they carry something that soothes. And this happens because inside them, there is already peace. Peace built in silence. Peace learned in pain. The chosen one brings tranquility because they have already faced storms alone. They learned to trust when there was no more control. They went through dark nights when no one saw them. And when someone is healed in silence, they begin to heal just with their presence. Like Jesus in the boat, sleeping during the storm. At peace, even when everything around was chaos. It is not about appearance. It is not charisma. It is not friendliness. It is spiritual. It is about what is carried in the spirit. The chosen one does not carry weight. They carry relief. They arrive, and without wanting to, take away part of the anxiety of those nearby. This is a gift. This is purpose. Many people feel this without knowing the reason. They say, "This person makes me feel good." Or, "Just being near them makes me feel lighter." And that is exactly it. The chosen one has this effect. They do not need to explain who they are. Their peace already says everything. Their serenity already reveals their mission. Sometimes, you only need to be near them for a few minutes. And that is enough for something to change inside you. It is as if the heart has found a safe space to rest. There is no pressure or demand. Just presence, just calm, just spirit with spirit. This capacity to calm is rare, but when it appears, it leaves a mark. You may not remember exactly the words of a chosen one, but you never forget the peace they brought with them. It is as if heaven visited the environment through that person, and you know it was not ordinary. The chosen one has this function without even knowing. They are used by God as a point of balance amid the noise of the world. Many times, they do not even understand why people open up, cry, or simply want to be near them. But this happens because they carry something that is not theirs. It is from above. This is one of the most beautiful ways to identify a chosen one. They do not need to speak in tongues or make speeches. They just need to be. Because what they carry already fulfills the purpose. The impact is not in the volume of their voice, but in the lightness they transmit effortlessly. If you have ever felt this way near someone, cherish it. And if you notice that your presence calms, even when you do nothing, understand, this is spiritual. This is a gift. It is a clear sign that you have been set apart to be a bridge, to be rest, to be refuge. Peace is the language of the chosen ones. And those who carry this presence, even in silence, are already fulfilling their mission. There are encounters that do not ask for explanation. They ask for silence. Because what happens there goes beyond logic, beyond appearance, beyond time. When one chosen one meets another, it is not a first encounter. It is a reunion. The body feels strange, but the spirit recognizes it immediately. Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt that this person was part of your story, even without knowing them? Have you ever had the feeling of continuing a conversation that never began? This is the recognition of souls, a spiritual sign that there is something greater there than a simple exchange of words. The chosen ones carry invisible codes. They are not signs that the world sees, but that heaven activates among those who share mission, essence, and purpose. When these souls cross paths, even in silence, a connection happens. It does not require time. It does not depend on coexistence. It is instant. Many call this affinity, similar energy, coincidence. But those who live by the Spirit know it is more than that. It is a kind of memory that does not come from memory, but from essence. It is as if the heart says, "I know who you are," and the other heart replies, "I do too." These encounters have no rational explanation, but they have purpose. Many times, they happen during moments of transition, pain, or decision, as if heaven positions someone exactly when you need it most. And the connection comes effortlessly, without pressure. It simply happens, and it becomes a landmark. Not many words are needed. What a conversation lasting hours does not reveal. A simple gesture can communicate. A glance, a smile, a respected silence. The chosen one does not impose themselves. They simply are. And by being there, something within you awakens, calms, or fits. This recognition can come with lightness or with force. It can be subtle or intense. In some cases, it brings immediate peace. In others, it can even bring discomfort because it reminds you of who you are, even if you have forgotten. But deep down, you know, this connection is not common. Some confuse this with instant friendship, but it goes beyond that. It is not just about getting along. It is a bond that was not born there, but was reactivated. And you perceive this by the naturalness of it. Nothing is forced. Everything flows. Even if you don't talk every day, the bond remains strong. The chosen ones are positioned by God in strategic points. Sometimes they cross your path for just a few minutes. Other times, they walk with you for years. But the impact of the connection always happens in the first exchange. Because recognition does not depend on time. It comes from the Spirit. And no matter how much the mind tries to understand, the heart has already decided to trust. Because deep down, that presence brings truth. You feel that you can be yourself, that you do not need to explain much. that you are seen from within, not from the outside. And this heals you, strengthens you, realigns you with who you have always been. If you have experienced this, you know exactly what I am talking about. And if you have not yet lived it, be attentive. It may be that God is about to place someone in your path who will make your spirit remember what the world tried to erase. Purposeful reunions do not happen every day, but when they do, they are unmistakable. And if you have recognized someone like that, embrace them, honor them, thank them. Because when two chosen ones meet, heaven manifests, and purpose moves. There are pains that we do not share. Silent, internal pains, difficult to explain even to ourselves. In those moments, even praying feels heavy. Only the heart speaks, quietly, without words. But God listens, and when the answer comes, it does not always arrive in the form of a visible miracle. Sometimes it comes in the form of someone. The chosen one does not appear by chance. They arrive on days when no one notices that you are struggling. In moments when the world goes on, but you are paralyzed inside. They do not come with promises, nor do they bring prepared speeches. They simply arrive, and what they carry is what you need most: presence. They do not need to know you. They do not need to know what happened. Their spirit already understands what yours is going through, and that is what makes them different. They do not pressure. They do not invade. They do not judge. They listen. And their silence is already a type of healing, a confirmation that you are not alone. Perhaps this person sent you a message on the exact day. Perhaps they found you by chance. Perhaps they offered you a shoulder when you did not ask. But you knew. That was not a coincidence. It was an answer. It was God saying, "I heard you. I am here, and I sent you someone." The chosen one arrives as comfort, but also as direction. Sometimes it is through them that you hear something that repositions you, that gives you the courage to carry on. They can be a friend, a stranger, someone who crosses your life for a short time. But what they release over you stays. The answer can have a face, a name, a voice. They may have hugged you when you could no longer smile. They may have spoken a few words, but they echoed for days. They may have just listened to you with the kind of attention that the world no longer has. This is being an answer. This is being used by God. And if you have ever experienced this, remember, God does not forget silent prayers. He does not ignore what the mouth could not express. And when he wants to act, he sends. He positions the right people in the right places. And when a chosen one arrives, they bring with them God's care in human form. You may have already been that person for someone, or perhaps you are about to receive this encounter. The important thing is to recognize, heaven always responds. Sometimes with a gentle voice, other times with an unexpected hug, but always with love, always at the exact time. Some encounters last for years, others just minutes, but time does not define the impact that a presence can have. The chosen ones often pass through our lives briefly, but they leave something that remains. It is not about permanence, it is about purpose. There are people who come and stay. There are those who come, fulfill what they came to do, and leave. The chosen ones generally belong to the second group. They are not concerned with occupying space. They know that sometimes a word, a touch, or a gesture is all that heaven needs to move something within someone. You may not have even been able to explain it. The conversation was short, the encounter quick. But after that, something changed. An understanding formed. A peace reached you. A cycle closed. They did not say much, but what they said remained. It grew. It bore fruit. It is like a seed sown in fertile soil. You do not immediately see what is happening beneath the ground, but over time, the fruits appear, and you realize that that brief presence planted something eternal. A lesson, a strength, a memory that accompanies you at the right moments. Ananias was one of those. He appeared in Paul's life for a brief moment. He was obedient. He laid hands on Paul. He released the word, and Paul's eyes were opened. There was no long speech, no lasting relationship, but there was transformation, and the world was impacted because of that encounter. This is the kind of mark that a chosen one leaves. They do not need much time. They need discernment. They need to be in the right place at the right time, saying what they were sent to say. They deliver, and then they move on. But what they left, no one can erase. These encounters have something sacred. You may not remember all the details, but you remember how you felt. You remember the clarity that arrived. You remember the feeling of having received something you did not know you needed. And even if the person leaves, the effect continues. In some cases, you never see that person again. In others, they remain at a distance. But what they left lives inside you. And that is the most important thing. The chosen ones are not here to create dependency. They are here to activate what already exists in you, and then let you walk with it. Perhaps you are remembering someone right now. Someone who passed through your life, touched your soul, and moved on. Someone who appeared at a specific moment, spoke what needed to be said, and changed the course of your journey. If this happened, recognize it was a purposeful encounter. And if one day someone told you, after that conversation with you, my life changed, understand that you are also being used in this way. You can also be that someone who comes for a short time, but plants enough to transform an entire life. Encounters with chosen ones are not meant to bind. They are meant to free. And freedom often begins when a truth is planted with love. A sincere presence, a word from heaven, a mark that time cannot erase. Time passes, people change, but the seeds sown with purpose continue to bear fruit. And this is how the chosen ones operate, with silent but eternal impact. Some chosen ones do not come to please. They come to reveal. Not with harshness, but with firm love. They are those who, even with calm words, put you in front of the truth you avoided seeing. And they do this not to belittle you, but to set you free. They do not expose. They illuminate. They use truth as a mirror, not as a weapon. They show what needs to change, what is hidden, what is distorted. And no matter how uncomfortable it is, there is something in you that recognizes, this is what I needed to hear. The chosen one who confronts is not harsh by nature. They are sensitive but obedient. When they speak with clarity, with wisdom, with grace. They do not seek to hurt, but to restore. And because of this, their words carry weight, but they also bring relief. They break lies, but they do not break you. It is like Nathan before David. He came with truth, pointed out the error, exposed what was hidden. But his intention was not to condemn the king, it was to help him see. And that changed everything. David came to his senses. He repented. He started over. Because the truth, spoken with love, has the power of a new beginning. Many avoid being confronted. But when the truth comes from someone who carries the Spirit, it finds space. It does not intimidate. It liberates. It hurts, but it heals. The discomfort becomes a doorway to transformation, and the confrontation becomes care. If you have ever been transformed by a word that shook you but helped you grow, it was probably a chosen one who spoke. And if you have ever said something that awakened someone, even without intention, perhaps you are that channel. The chosen ones who confront are disguised gifts. They do not gloss over pain. They touch it, and there, healing begins. Because the truth, when it comes from God, does not humiliate. It redirects, and that in itself is already an act of love. Time, wounds, and disappointments make us forget. We forget our value. We forget the strength we carry. We forget the light that has shone before. Life gradually dims parts of us without us realizing it, until someone appears, and that someone reminds you of everything you have ever been, and still are. The chosen one does not come to transform you into something new. They come to reconnect you with your essence. They see what is behind the masks, the fears, the defenses. And when they speak to you, it seems like they are speaking directly to your soul. And they really are. They see with the eyes of God. And when someone sees you like this, you remember. You remember that you have value, that you have a calling, that you have an identity. You feel seen, not for what you have, but for what you are. And that heals, that strengthens. At first, the desire is to escape, to fill the emptiness with anything. Social media, series, new people, endless tasks, but no distraction lasts forever. Eventually, everything falls silent again. And in that silence, you are challenged to do something you have avoided for a long time, to truly listen to yourself. Spiritual isolation is not a punishment. It is preparation. The universe is taking away the noises of the world so that you can hear the only voice that matters at this moment, yours. It is in this internal space that you begin to perceive who you are, what you truly feel, and where you need to go. The chosen ones face this process alone, not because they are abandoned, but because there is something that can only be understood in silence. And when you accept this isolation as part of the journey, it ceases to be empty and begins to become sacred, a space for deep connection with your essence. You begin to notice small signs, clearer intuitions, more intense sensations. You realize that there is a wisdom inside you that was buried beneath the noise of the world, and this wisdom starts to guide your steps, slowly but firmly, without promises of quick answers, but with true direction. The silence that screams is also the silence that heals. It cleanses, it reorganizes, it strengthens. Sometimes, this reminder comes in a simple compliment. Other times, it comes in a firm look saying, "Return to who you were." The way the chosen one treats you places you back in position. They speak with truth, but without pressure. They put you back at the center, in your place of origin, the presence of God. Many times, all someone needs is this, to be reminded. Because the world tries to make you fit in. It tries to shape you. But the chosen one comes to free you from what has distanced you from your essence. They bring you back inside, to what God dreamed when He created you. If someone has ever done this for you, cherish it. It was more than a conversation. It was a rescue. And if you have ever done this for someone, understand. God used you to reignite a flame that the world almost extinguished. Chosen ones do not reinvent people. They activate what was dormant, and that is divine. And these signs do not arrive with visible warnings or logical explanations. They manifest in the soul, like a silent certainty, like a peace that cannot be explained. When you cross paths with a chosen one, something inside you recognizes it. And in that moment, you understand. There is something greater happening here. Perhaps you have been reached by someone like this. Someone who arrived at the right time, spoke what you needed, or simply was present when no one else was. But perhaps you are that someone. the one who carries words that heal, a presence that calms, a truth that awakens. If so, do not hide. It is not about shine, it is about purpose. It is not about the spotlight, it is about mission. Heaven is still looking for available hearts to touch other lives. And it all starts with a simple, "Here I am, send me." Isaiah 6:8. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever crossed paths with someone who marked you in a spiritual way? Or do you feel that God uses you to reach other people? Comment below. Let's strengthen this network of people who were chosen not to be seen, but to see beyond.